Good morning, Charmers. Good morning, everyone. Okay, it's another Monday, and you are tuned in again to another lecture for our community habit of action research on Mondays. So, without much ado, I'd like to call on Dr. Bing Prudente to introduce today's featured speaker. Dr. Bing.
Thank you, Doc Shirley. Welcome again, Charmers. And for those who just joined us, first time to join us, welcome to DLSU Leader ARAL webinar on action research, which we call CHARM, Community Habit of Action Research on Mondays. So this is our last webinar for the year 2020, and we are very happy to have with us another Lasallian. She's been with De La Salle Subel for quite some time. I will not reveal the number of years, so you can guess her age. Anyway, she's a very young, budding action researcher. She has been using it in preparation for her dissertation, and actually her entire dissertation is a series of action research works. And she's going to share with us her experience in developing the robotics curriculum for De La Salle Subel. Let me tell you briefly about her educational background. She's a graduate of Philippine Normal University in the field of general science, I think. And then she graduated with honors, cum laude. She completed her Master of Science in Teaching, major in biology with us here at De La Salle University, Manila, with the Science Education Department. And right now, she's finishing her PhD in Educational Management at De La Salle Araneta University. And I'm very proud to say she is one of my mentees. So without further ado, let's listen to her talk about how she used action research to design, develop, and implement, and possibly evaluate the robotics curriculum of De La Salle Santiago Subel. So let's have, I'll give the virtual floor to Miss Genevieve Arizala Pilar.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you, Dr. Prudente. Thank you, Dr. Shirley Dita, for the wonderful introduction. I'll start sharing. Good morning, everybody. So I know that you are excited to listen to my presentation about developing robotics curriculum through collaborative action research. Well, actually, I know some of you were able to attend my webinar in Biota. It's about integrating robotics in science. So do not worry, it's not a repeat performance for me, because this morning I will be focusing more on the research. Dr. Bing is correct that I will be sharing with you the best practices that we have done in our school through collaborative action research. But prior to that, let me know. Teka lang, bakit tayo niya mag-next slide? Ayan. Okay, so how are you today? For me, it is important to always check not only our students, but also our teachers from time to time. As this morning's speaker, I would like to ask, how are you at this moment? It's a feelings check. Can you type in the chat box if you are in good space and can focus? Put one or write one, type one if you are in good space and can focus. Two, if something is bothering you but can still focus. Or three, if you can't manage your emotions right now. I don't know so far, Dr. Aguja, can you tell me what's the dominant number? Or
one. It's all one.
Everybody is excited. Thank you so much. Okay, for the introduction, of course, nakikita nyo naman, very obvious that the topic is about the curriculum development. So that's the very important topic, one of the subjects that I have encountered in my PhD life. So curriculum development. And just to give you an overview, curriculum can be defined as the step-by-step process used to create positive improvements in the courses offered by the school. And as you know that we are all aware that the world changes every day, and the new discoveries have to be roped into the education curricula. And robotics, when we define robotics, alam ko naman, very obvious na sa inyo, but just to give you an overview of it, just a review lang, the branch of technology that deals with the design, construction, operation, and application of robots. Now, robotics technology is considered as a new learning program in the teaching and learning of science, particularly in STEM education. Currently, De La Salle Santiago Zubel School Robotics Program engages students in STEM through robotics and thereby developing creativity, collaboration, communication, and critical thinking skills. Makikita nyo kung paano namin yung ginagawa. Okay. So, now, globally, the education system started employing robotics since its introduction by Poppert in 1980 pa yun, ha? And this has been gaining popularity as evidence by the increased usage of such technique among teachers and students engaged in STEM. So in STEM education, that is from according to Tenghua and Oliver and Oliver 2018. And in a global campaign to improve STEM concepts and skills education and the call for curricular integration of robotics has been proposed by many authors, many proponents, many researchers. Now, according to the World Economic Forum, we need to shape the future, a future that works for all of us by putting people first and empowering them. And its most pessimistic, dehumanized form, and the fourth industrial revolution may indeed have the potential to robotize humanity and thus to deprive us of our heart and soul. But of course, as a complement to the best part of human nature, creativity, empathy, stewardship can also lift humanity into a new collective and moral consciousness based on a shared sense of destiny. Now, to define the system, the Philippines, as I'll just mute this, Philippine companies are having a hard time adopting new technologies. And the challenge is, are Filipinos ready for the fourth industrial revolution? And how can we prepare our Filipino students to their future that only a few of us can define these new skills? Because skills like automation, robotics, and thinking machines are superseding human tasks. Alam ko aware kayo nun. So, are Filipinos ready for the fourth industrial revolution? Then, so again, it is important to know if our students are ready to take on the next century of work. And it is because the World Economic Forum uniquely positioned to shape the future in the most innovative ways. And its purpose is to empower global leaders to shape the future for the better. And so who will be the future global leaders or the future nation leaders? Our students today. And some organizations also, like companies, organizations, will look and require for people with the skills. And are these skills no longer means the same as 10 years ago? And many of the skills and job titles of tomorrow are unknown to us today. So kaya nga marami sa atin struggling. All right. Now, the fourth industrial revolution defines the world where people's way of life transforms from offline to digital world, where the use of technology enables them to manage their lives. That is according to Zhu, David, and Kim 2018. Robotics is becoming progressively part of the school's curriculum internationally, locally, internationally. And this is basically attributed to the reality that students in K-12 schools will graduate into an era where robots will become widely used in one's everyday lives. The current reality is the fifth industrial revolution, which is the AI revolution, has already begun. Okay, so to assess the current situation, globalization and the fourth industrial revolution have created new opportunities. And the opportunities, the Philippine Department of Education Undersecretary said that robotics is a new concept, but they are looking into strengthening the current programs related to it and adhering to the Philippines educational reform. Our school, DLSU Santiago Zubel School, offers robotics actually sometime in 2001 pa or earlier. So this is to strengthen students' skills and develop their knowledge through building, designing, assembling, and programming. And the school believes that even if these students choose a career other than robotics, learning robotics teaches them many important skills other than programming, like collaboration, critical thinking, and of course, innovation. I will not. All right. So to heed to this call, the De La Salle Santiago Zubel School Program has been created, and it was initiated as a special interest student club. And in the summer of 2011, 16 students from grades 3 to 6 were given special summer robotics training. And we are confident with the support from the school administration, parents, teachers, and robotics coaches and other external partners that the DLSZ robotics curriculum was institutionalized starting June of just 2 years ago, academic year 2018-2019, because we believe that robotics is a learning environment that provides engagement through the use of authentic technology tools. And the students are given varied opportunities to build and program robots that can perform specific tasks. We want to inspire our students to be science and technologically innovators. Of course, we involve them in project-based learning, like not only in competitions, but also through the performance tasks, especially in integrating science, engineering, and technology, as we want to inspire them and foster the salient excellence through a world-class learner-centered environment. All right. Now, so looking at this chart, present situation. So we're here, and then what is the ideal future? So visioning process first. So we're trying to vision the process first by assessing the present situation. Because when you assess the present situation, it creates an ideal future. And as clearly as it can be envisioned collectively, it could be collaboratively, then helps us proceed in the right direction. So now, the action researches that we've conducted, I think it helps us proceed in the right direction. So now, visioning is more than painting an idealistic picture of the future, but also or the current or the present conditions, but also it is a process of evaluating present conditions, identifying problem areas, and bringing a community-wide consensus. It's not all about me. It's not all about the teachers or the students. Everybody in the community, everybody in the institution, all the stakeholders. So it's a wide consensus on how to overcome existing problems and manage change. To tell you honestly, we've encountered a lot of challenges. Now, what is the current status? So we're assessing the current situation. With the current status in terms of robotics curriculum in the nation, in our country, in July 2019, DepEd Engineering and Science Education Program offers graded electronics and robotics. And the first quarter provides an introduction to the fundamental of electronics. And then second quarter, third quarter, and so on. And what you would notice here in this curriculum, robotics concepts will only be formally introduced during fourth quarter. So how about for robotics curriculum for other grade levels? Because that's one of the challenges since we've been doing robotics way back before 2000 pa. Now, we have this since 2013 when we had embedded our formal mainstream. That means part of the curriculum, part in one of the subjects. So subject na siya sa classes school namin. So since 2013 at DLSZ, with the help of the robotics teachers, science teachers, computer technology teachers, this robotics course outline for different grade levels was created. Pero we've done it gradually. So per year, meron lang siya. Grade 3 muna this year, then grade 4, grade 5, and then we completed all the all the grade levels, parang K to 12 yung ginaya naming strategy when we implemented, when we embedded, when we incorporated robotics subjects as one of robotics as one of the subjects in our school. So currently, of course, dahil nga wala tayong pinagkukuhanan ng ating competencies, standard, so DLSZ subscribes to SDG Quality Education, which is the 21st Century Curricula, Impact of Industry 4.0 on Education, and World Economic Forum, which is Artificial Intelligence and Robotics for Curriculum Standards References. But the DLSZ Robotics Program course outline were created because our school, our administrators are very supportive. We went to different benchmarking. We joined different competitions, exchange program, and even partnerships with other countries. So as you would notice here, we've been ito yung mga iba't ibang mga countries na napuntahan namin, nasalihan namin. It's not only for competition kasi when we join competition outside the country, it's one way of doing benchmarking too, kasi makikita mo kung ano na ba yung ginagawa nila, what's their programming, the coding skills that they're using, and also the kind of kit or platform that they're using. So it's one way. It's not only because we want to win, because we want to know kung asan na ba talaga kami at this time, at this moment. So we've been to different countries like Australia, China, Costa Rica, Denmark, Estonia, Hong Kong, Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Singapore, Taiwan, Thailand, USA. So for so long, for many times. So we've been doing this. And also as part of the exchange program of De La Salle Santiago Zubel School, we keep on partnering with the other schools. So we have this exchange program. The exchange program is we had the MOA with them for so long, and we just renewed our Memorandum of Understanding last 2019, last year. Robotics elite members, robotics teachers, and administrators participate in the International Robotics Exchange Program workshop and MOU signing in South Korea. Actually, just to give you a brief understanding about what does it mean, what is the Memorandum of Understanding all about. So it's both parties, both schools enter into the following Memorandum of Understanding by conducting activities that ensure proper international training and development of the students, the special skills and values. They were both parties recommend and provide international training to the students and teachers, provide opportunities for the students to excel and also perform and give training or give training or enhancement to give performance, better performance for the students. So these are some of the conditions that we have agreed between Korea, South Korea, Gyeongju Technical High School, and De La Salle Santiago Zubel School. Students and teachers and administrators from Gyeongju Technical High School, supposedly they should visit kasi we've done our part already, we've been there, and then dapat nandito sila last January, but nagkaroon ng Taal volcano eruption and then pandemic, then ngayon ang gagawin na lang namin virtual exchange program. So that's our plan this time, just to continue the partnership. All right, so to ensure the key to a successful, our reflection on this before we proceed, the key to a successful research project lies in the iteration, the process of returning again and again to research questions, methods, and data, which leads to new ideas, revisions, and improvements. And it is easy to think of research as a step-by-step process, but it is important to be flexible and open to changes. So in this process, we adopted the PDSA model or the Plan Do Study Act. So it has 4-stage problem-solving model used for improving a process. Now, identifying the root causes. At DLSU, we have 5 areas: mainstream, comp, elite, club, and outreach. So these are the 5 areas of De La Salle Santiago Zubel School. And currently, since I've mentioned, and Dr. Prudente also mentioned that it's a collaborative, we use collaborative action research, and we use the iteration method approaches or step-by-step of doing it. What you've seen here on the screen, we've conducted 4 action researches. So you've seen here the action research 1, action research 2, action research 3, hanggang sa pakikita ko sa inyo paano sila magkakakonet. Now, we keep on competing, as I mentioned, and we have embedded robotics in science for grade school and computer for high school. And we embedded robotics in computer technology for the high school students because we want to know the students' level of creativity or level of programming skills. So now we thought of doing action research, which is action research number 1, because we want to know the students' perspectives on creativity and innovation levels among robotics elite team student members. Kasi ang nangyari sa amin parang tinitingnan namin, so what's the level of creativity innovation? We keep on competing. We've been to different countries already. Now, the main goal of the program was to enhance the students' creativity and imagination. And in designing solutions, of course, to real-world problems, real-world problems in science using robots. So the DLSZ, as I've mentioned, the DLSZ unit was institutionalized last school year only, 2018-2019, and as an initial move to assess the implementation of the robotics curriculum, this study was undertaken, and the following specific questions were considered for this study. So what are the students' perceived level of creativity and innovation in robotics as regards to the following processes, like beginning the product, building knowledge, understanding skills, developing and revising ideas and products, presenting products and answers to driving questions. Number 2, what are the students' perceived level of creativity and innovation in robotics as regards to their product design in terms of originality, value, style, or is there a significant relationship between the students' perception on the process and the product design in their evaluation of the robotics outputs, or how is the level of creativity and innovation among the elite members, or is there a significant difference in the students' perceived level of creativity and innovation when grouped according to sex and grade level. This descriptive exploratory research and of course through action research study utilized the 7-item self-evaluation questionnaire adapted by the researchers, and interviews were conducted. The questionnaire was administered to the 46 students and then from the grades 4 to 12 students, and the focus on student teams building a robot that can perform simple and complex tasks. So majority of the students for question number 1 on the perceived level of creativity, majority of the students answered understand the needs and interests of the people who will use or see what is created, followed by why something has to be created. So yan yung dalawang yon. So mas malaki naman yung the students understand the needs and interests of the people who will use or see what is created. And then the results indicated that most of the students did not rely on one source only or one source of information, but instead they use more, or they want to use more sources derived mainly from websites, books, and articles. And 43% or 43.5% answers dealing with I ask you questions and think about how to improve on the idea. Then I use feedback from others to improve the product prototype robot. Actually, every time we have competition, we invited different experts. So nag-invite kami ng mga science teachers, computer technology teachers, researchers. So yun yung mga kinukuha namin. So prior to the presentation, bago sila lumabad sa mga contest, meron muna kaming mga presentation. So we get the feedback, the suggestion of some experts. So that was a practice for so long already. And on presenting naman the products and answers to deriving questions, students' answers to the question, how do I present my robot to target audience, obtain a highest percentage of 35.6. So Then collectively, from the different components mentioned under level of creativity and innovation, beginning the product, as you would see here, had the highest mean. So surprisingly, suggestive of students' level in between proficient to exemplary exceeds proficiency. And at this point in time, our students are showing their advanced understanding on the need to create their robots and the importance of creating such robots. So students considered that there is something new in terms of ideas in designing their robots, though would still look like those seen before, and that's 39.1%. And others may have their robots new, unique, surprising, and shows a personal touch. That's around 32.6%. And still others would have their robots only new and unique. Okay, so that's 28.3%. As for the value of the robot they make, students answer the questions, how do I describe the value of my robot? Findings show that 41.5% of the students answered this question with my prototype or my robot is seen as useful and valuable by the people who use or see it. So imagine nyo, alam nilang may value, alam nilang may papupuntahan yung mga innovations nila, yung mga ginagawa nila. So nakakatuwa. And for the style, students answered question, how do I describe the style or design of my robot? Most of the students answered this question, my product or my robot is well made and impressive, designed with style. So ganun sila ka-confident, 39.1%. Mas malaki din naman. Although may iba din nagsabi na medyo lang touches, but as sabi niya, robot has some interesting touches, but has some pieces that may be too much or I think needs improvement. Now, table 2 shows the overall mean on perceived level of creativity and innovation in terms of their product, designed to be of standard, particularly that of the value aspect, with the highest mean of 3.43. So it's suggestive of their demonstrative zeal of creativity and careful design for the robots. And the same result was observed in the study by Zaweska and Duffy. All right, so the relationship between the students' perception on the process and the product design of the robotics outputs proved to be significant. At p-value 0.000, this implies that if the students have good grasp on the processes in robotics, the output of their products is also good quality. And this could promote beneficial effects in the different concepts and skills among students, as well as rendering long-term effects as observed in the study of Benitez, Espolar, Sporan, and Young. Okay, now, the level of creativity and innovation among the elite members was rated at 4.0, and this value is described to be above standard. And as the mean of 6.36 falls in the range of 5.28 to 7. So this means that the more time students engage themselves in robotics, the greater the tendency for them to learn and perform better in science. So the level of difference in students' creativity and innovation in robotics was not significant. When they were grouped according to sex and grade level, this implies that sex and grade level are not associated with the student's ability to become creative and innovative. So wala pala siya. So no significant difference was observed as regards to the ability of the students to create and innovate. Now, as for the implications, so the students' perceived level on creativity showed that beginning the product showed the highest mean score, and the results describe the students' level of creativity and innovation in robotics to lie between proficient to exemplary already. Ganun nila in-evaluate yung sarili nila. And these results seem to imply that the students' product robot will work in the real world. And the findings reveal that there is a significant relationship between the student perceptions on the process and the product. And the data shows that there is strong correlation between process and product. So that means for a more comprehensive assessment on the students' perceptions about robotics, integration of robotics programs in enhancing their learnings and scientific skills, other methods of assessment should be done on a regular basis. So, and a variety of instruments, the researchers also suggested that a variety of instruments could be developed to gather a more valid and reliable assessment protocol. Now, what is our reflection here? Ang reflection namin dito, ang dami na naming mga pinuntahan. We've been to, as I've mentioned earlier, perspective nila yon. Pero what about the actual performance? So, maraming pinuntahan. So, winner of International Robot Olympiad in 2017, Justice Bot na panalunan. First Lego League in Australia in 2017 with this beacon while relocating and mopping system up. Okay, so national winner in the Philippine Robotics Olympiad ang Ella Bot. And also even nga the social media in Estonia nanalo, even nasa Estonia na yun, nanalo pa rin sila ng best in social media. So that's from our scholars, the night school Brayton students. And also one of the successful competitions in 2018 was also happened in from the FIRA Robot World Cup China Open in China. So maraming mga batang medals na nakuha nila dito for this. And then gold medal, World Robot Games gold medal. I think this happened in Tagaytay kasi national competition to. And then in Japan, so our bulilit, our small kids, mga grade 4 and grade 5 students lang to, Best Creative Programming Award in Japan during the first Lego League competition. So it's international. I think around 40 plus countries ang nag-attend dito. And then also bronze medal in the International Robot Olympiad 2018. And also even BAGCED competition. So medyo high-end din na competition ito. And of course, we are so grateful to the Department of Science and Technology that our achievements from the international contest are being recognized. The YES Award is a DOST institutional award for exemplary achievement of the youth in the fields of science and mathematics. And the Secretary's Medal is conferred to winners of international competitions only for math and science that have been duly registered by SEIDOST by national organizers. And just recently, just last October 16, this year, Science Education Institute gave virtual recognition to the Youth Excellence in Science Awardees, and so grateful to note that the number of De La Salle Zobel students were recognized. Now, why am I sharing this? Because of our experience. Ito yung naging parang medyo marami kaming realization after we hosted. Nag-host ang Philippines. The Philippines hosted the 20th International Robot Olympiad last 2018. And the Philippine contingent composed of 92 students from 10 schools won a total of 127 medals, putting the Philippines in third place only, with Korea and China ranking first and second. So that means ang first ay si Korea, then followed by China. So third lang tayo kahit nakikita yung overwhelming number of medals. Now why? Some medals are not that high, so more of silver or bronze or technical merits only. Okay, so these are the DLSZ. Actually, from our school, so from out of 127 medals that I've mentioned, 27 medals won by the De La Salle Santiago Zobel School. 3 gold medals, 5 silver medals, 19 bronze medals, and so on. And the Philippine contingent, as I've mentioned, composed of 92 students from 10 schools. So these are the countries, the 11 countries: Afghanistan, Bangladesh, China, India, Indonesia, Korea, Malaysia, New Zealand, Philippines, and Uzbekistan. Tama ba? And this examine also now the different games in the IRO is an annual event specific tasks based on the given mechanics. So on the spot yun, built-in build on site sila, build on site. So hindi yun pre-built. So the students presented their solutions to save the seas. That was the theme, Save the Seas. And that 20th IRO team examined the students' imagination and creativity to build the robot. And the students used their robotics knowledge and programming skills during the 4-day events. Actually, ano na rin siya, para din siyang mga may cultural show, may friendship night kami for that. So, maraming nakita kasi dati when we attended a competition abroad, medyo hindi mo nakikita kung ano yung mga kulang nyo, ano yung pero nung kayo ang nag-host, kitang-kita mo. So that made us, that gave us a lot of realization, a lot of things to reflect on. So we need to consider the students' experiences, the students' frustrations, even the parents' frustrations, the coaches, the teachers' frustrations, the audience, the observers. So ganun yung nangyari ito yung parang naging wake-up call namin. So wake-up call namin, nakita namin na from the feedback of the parents, teachers, of the different stakeholders, meron namin silang mga binigay ng mga opinions, mga ideas on how to do that. So talagang we took those feedback seriously. I did not consider those feedback, those suggestions, those criticisms as threats, but opportunities for us to improve the process, for us to improve the practice. So that's the reason why when we were reflecting, we were thinking of giving intervention to the students. Nakita namin may gaps in terms of technical skills, especially in programming skills. And also the kind of kit, the kind of platform that we're using, masyadong behind, masyadong sorry to say, medyo parang kawawa ang Pilipinas. Swerte talaga at magagaling yung mga students na galing sa 10 schools, nagkaroon pa ng mga award. So, from this experience, we're thinking of intervention. So, we're looking at why are interventions important in schools. Interventions actually, as understood, can be a helpful, alam natin yan, way of providing additional support to students' progress and achievement. So, yun yung naging pinanggalingan namin. So that's the reason why lumabas itong action research number 2, the effectiveness of robotics intervention strategy, RIS, among robotics elite members. So that's action research number 2. So nag-evolve siya into another research. Tiningnan namin, so actually the concept or the idea behind is the response to intervention. I don't know if you are familiar with that, the response to intervention approach. So, na hindi mo pwedeng ililipat sa next level without making sure na accomplish niya that particular indicators or skills. Now, as an initial move to assess the implementation of this intervention, this study was initiated. So, syempre kailangan namin mag-pilot. So, what are the elite members' proficiency level? We have to know. We have to know the level of proficiency of the student in terms of required robotics technical skills and before and after the intervention. And did the robotics intervention strategy significantly improve the performance level of the students? Or how has the interventions or the RIS affected a change in the students' robotics technical skills? You would see here in figure 1, in this figure, from this figure, that RRTS pretest was administered as a basis for to craft intervention activities to build up the required skills. And then, as you would see here, based from the RRTS pretest results, scaffolding individual activity was devised to help the students master the required skills. Then there were performance feedbacking. And periodically, then during this time, teachers gave frequent and immediate feedbacking about the students' performance. There were drills administered to sharpen the students' robotics technical skills, and monitoring also was highlighted to measure the each student improvement. Meron talagang nauuna, may naiiwan. So our response of, so the progress monitoring, so nakikita namin dito. So it's all right, kahit grade 5 ka, tapos naunahan mo yung grade 7, yung grade 8, it's all right. Lahat naman kayo papunta doon. So that was the intention of this. That was the intention. Actually, it's ongoing. Marami na kami napag-graduate, but we keep on giving intervention for the new members of the elite team kasi sila yung mga varsity team namin. Now, just to give you an idea, here is the summary of the robotics, the required robotics technical skills. As you would see, I've mentioned, di ba, may beginner, developing. After the pretest, malalagay dito yung mga bata. Beginner ba siya, developing, approaching proficiency, proficient, or expert or advanced level na. So, mayroon kaming kanya-kanyang required skills per level of the RRTS. Then we have, as I've mentioned, we have here the pretest scaffolding, feedbacking, and so forth. And it was administered to students after completion. The post-test was administered to students after the completion of the intervention or RTS. So that means bawat isang level dito, may post-test sila bago pumunta sa developing post-test, bago sila pumunta sa approaching post-test. So that just to make sure that they are well equipped, ready for the next level. So kapag binitawan mo na sila, alam mong expert na sila, advanced na talaga sila. Okay, so actually napakinabangan namin, just to give you baka makalimutan ko na i-share. Napakinabangan namin ito kasi we've been doing this for so long. Nung nagkaroon ng ng pandemic, and then all the competitions are happening virtually, we did not have a hard time in training the students because some of them are well equipped, are ready, are experts already. So we just converted from physical robot to virtual robot, but the same naman yung treatment, the same programming skills are being used, and then nakakuha sila. And lately, in one of the hardcore programming skills that we've completed in the World Robot Olympiad, out of around 40 plus countries, nag-first from De La Salle Zubel, ninth in the world, pero first in the Philippines, galing sa De La Salle Zubel. Pero maraming sumali from public and private schools. All right, so okay, so tapos na ako dito. Now, the effectiveness of robotics intervention. So this generally, creation of new concept of new strategies, new ideas, and new technologies were evident and manifested in the RRTS post-test. So I think as you would see here, the table 2, the mean pretest score of 2.50 implied that before the intervention, the elite team members' robotics technical skills was at the approaching proficiency level only. And then figure 3 described that after the intervention, the mean post-test score of 4.307 suggested that the elite members' robotics technical skills were approaching the expert level already. So, nakakatuwa. Then this result indicated that the intervention significantly improved the elite members' performance level. The paired t-test analysis revealed that there was a significant difference in the elite members' pre-test and post-test scores. And in order to determine the change in the students' robotics technical skills using RIS, the students were asked with the following questions, like what is your most powerful or wonderful experience? What would you do differently if you were to approach the same problem or task again? So during the interview, you would see ito yung level nila, 8% answered ang pinakaano nila, programming activity, followed by project presentation, building skill, and then researching. And also, it can be gathered that some common answers were given by the pupils during the interview. Table 4 showed that the students' interview final answers were categorized into 4: programming skills, time management, researching, presentation, or demonstration. So this means that 4 major areas were manifested in the students' answer. Actually, in-highlight ko nga dito yung Meron siya ditong, I would this time, sabi niya parang, I think this time I would work more on the automatic side talaga sinabi niya, and make the robot AI. Kasi ito yung kanilang reflection after the competition ng nung nag-host tayo ng IRO. Then as our IS efforts continue to adapt within the other areas of the robotics program, it is vital that students with the most intensive needs receive the help they need and not wait to fail. That was our realization. Bakit natin isasabak, di nga siya ready, hindi nga siya well equipped. Kulang nga siya sa skills. And researchers and teachers should continue to develop more intensive interventions. So that's one. And also policymakers also in addition daw and learning with for the set of screening and progress monitoring skill tests lead to be best allocation of resources will be vital, and policymakers should ensure that these educational initiatives remain to ensure that students with difficulties receive sustained intervention. So what's the takeaway here? If a child can't learn the way we teach, maybe we should teach the way they learn. Actually, totoo yun kasi may mga naiwan kaming students. Some students are still in the proficiency level for so long, but we keep on giving them intervention until now. So now, that's our reflection. Our reflection for this one way to systematize the curriculum development is to know the stakeholders evaluation. Kasi naging experience na namin yun nung after the competition. So one way to systematize the system, the processes of the curriculum development, you have to get the feel of the stakeholders, get the stakeholders evaluation of the program, and that could be the basis for the policy development, for the policy guidelines, or for the curriculum, for the new curriculum. And how do, as an initial move again to the existing robotics curriculum, this study was instituted. And these two questions were considered. How do different stakeholders describe their experiences about the existing robotics program, and what factors are being described as needed for improving the existing robotics program? We have here different factors. For the first question, how do the different stakeholders describe their experiences in terms of content and activity, coaches' expertise or teachers' expertise, time allotment, target skills, training room, and the team collaboration? Same with number 2. What factors are being described as needed for improving the existing program or the existing curriculum? It's the same, the content and activity, coaches' expertise, time allotment, target skills, training room, the team collaboration. Now, descriptive mixed method approach was employed through environmental scanning in order to determine the future direction of the program, and primarily using focus group discussion technique also. And quantitative data was extracted from the evaluation questionnaire responses involving 4 stakeholders. We have around 150 students from grades 3 to 12, and then 20 teachers, and 16 subject area coordinators, and 30 parents from kinder to grade 12. We consider them. And the paper and pencil questionnaire was used for the students, while Google Forms for teachers, coaches, and subject area coordinators and parents. And quantitative data was taken from the Likert scale. The stakeholders were asked to choose the level of agreement with the statements. Number 1 is strongly agree, 2 agree, 3 disagree, 4 strongly disagree. And qualitative data was taken during the focus group discussion. And what you've seen here, table 1 shows the overall percentage of the students' level of agreement. And most of the students gave 90 to 100% agree to strongly agree level of agreement with the program attributes, except for the allotted time for the robotics class. For them, it was not enough. So, meron silang suggestion for that. And then for the teachers, that was from the students. And then what about for the teachers, from the teachers' evaluation? The teachers' evaluation shows the most of the teachers, most of the teachers and coaches gave 90 to 100% agree to strongly agree level of agreement with the program attributes except for the allotted time again. Pareho sila ng students. So nag-jive yung sinasabi ng students and ng teachers. Then for the table 3, this from the administrator's point of view naman. From the administrators, they also gave 95 to 100% agree to strongly agree level, but for them, allotted time for the robotics class was not enough again. And the robotics activities enrich the students' research skills. The robotics activities help the students enhance their confidence during project or performance task presentation. Those are some of the highlights. And then from the parents, they said, again, 95 to 100%, except for the robotics activities enrich the students' research skills. Maybe because tumutulong sila eh. Siguro nakukulangan sila. So they want to improve the research skills of the students. Kasi when they go out, when we compete with for the different competitions, kasama ang parents eh, so they know, they are aware of what is happening. Now, for the result of the summary, it is interesting to note that content and activity were the highest level of agreement. So while the teacher, content and activity were the highest agreement. And the time allotment naman, and students' research skills got the lowest, and it is suggestive of their demonstrative zeal of creativity and careful design for the robots if given enough time. So these are some of the stakeholders' answers during the focus group discussion. I'm not going to mention it anymore, so I will just flash it one by one from the administrator. So siguro I'll just read some highlights here. The continuous evaluation and modification based on the needs of the students. Also, tama naman yung sinabi nila. So, and that's, yeah, ito yung sinabi nila. And then, from the teachers naman, the learners have the ability to manipulate their own understanding using scientific concepts and principles, and so forth. So, students daw become inventors because of the robotics program. There is much room for improvement, according to the teachers. And from the parents, very happy naman sila. Pero except for the they need to be more knowledgeable. So that was one of the recommendations. So we need to equip also not only the students but also the teachers. Now, additional time to improve the program was one of the factors being highlighted, both in the evaluation questionnaire and FGD. And the stakeholders recommend to have more regular training sessions for the students to enhance their skills. And also, in addition, students' research skills should be given emphasis during the robotics classroom activities and training session. And thus, intervention should be conducted too. So continuous. That's the reason why we have, for every platform, for every robotics kit that we have, we conduct intervention. We make sure that the students are at least in their proficiency level before joining competition. Kasi very frustrating. Nung nakapanood ako ng isang bata when we went to China, nag-compete kami, and I saw one student from the other schools, nalaglag yung robot niya. Maybe it was with the help of the robot or the kit that they brought there in China. The kits that they brought in China were pre-built, and then nung nahulog, di niya na kayang ibalik. Umiyak siya ng umiyak, very frustrating. So nakakatuwang tingnan yung mga students na kahit anong mangyari sa robot nila, kaya pa rin nilang ibalik. They can manipulate because they were the ones who built it, who programmed it, something like that. And for robotics is a learning environment that provides engagement through the use of authentic technology tools, and the students be given varied opportunities to build and program robots that can perform specific tasks and can solve real and relevant problems. That's why our robot projects, our performance tasks in robotics are these are always embedded or integrated with other subjects, especially in sa science subject. Reflection. elite members are now more confident, as I've mentioned kanina. So dahil dito sa mga ginawa namin mga intervention sa kanila, assessment, but we keep on giving them intervention. We make sure that they will succeed. And we still join until now. We keep on joining online competition, and we keep on giving online training. Now, so that's for the elite members. Now, what about for the students in the mainstream? So it's robotics for all, not only for the elite team. So that's why we have here the action research number 4. It's the development of the DLSZ robotics curriculum, because the first one are more of the program, more of for the elite team, for the varsity team. Kasi doon namin pinilot kung ano yung mga best practices namin. And now we're onboarding now the mainstream students who are not into robotics. Pero I've mentioned na kahit hindi sila into robotics in the future, they will still use these skills in the future for their future job, for the future jobs. So this time we need to consider paradigm shift. We have to rethink, reimagine, reinvent, and we have to change some of our not so good practices. So with this pandemic, the experience, and then shifted from face-to-face to online distance learning. I na-mention ko na ito dun sa Biota webinar ko. So we're having, with the help of the school administrators, we are so fortunate because our top leaders in our school, middle admin and teachers collaborated very well. Although there is no perfect online distance learning model yet, but the most notable here is everyone contributes. So this is the model, this is the framework of our online distance learning in robotics. So it happens synchronously, asynchronously. We have the weekly learning guide. The 1 to 7 processes are actually inquiry-based. The inspiration here from the weekly learning guide model or approach is inquiry-based approach. So of course, regularly every week we have the reflection or the self-check, the main task as parang yung kanilang weekly tasks, and then the PT and the students' portfolio. And we make sure that we conduct a student and teacher consultation in the afternoon. So ngayon, what we have experienced last term 1, we've used only online programming, virtual programming, kasi wala naman silang robot at home. Hindi naman lahat ng bata ay elite team. Only those members of the elite team ang mayroong robot at home. So now, this is one of the challenges. Kaya, but of course, we still adhere to no child left behind, especially in robotics. We want to adapt the no child left behind, and that it is based on the premise that setting high standards and establishing measurable goals could improve individual outcomes in education. So what if it's still online pa rin, online distance learning pa rin next academic year? So what are we going to do? We cannot have virtual programming all the time. So now, currently these are the 2 initiatives of our unit. The do-it-yourself DIY robot. So dahil dun sa mga experiences namin na kailangan yung mga bata, sila talaga marunong mag-build, mag-program, mag-manipulate. So we have we're so lucky because we have one teacher from the robotics unit who is the proponent and advocate of do-it-yourself or the DIY robot. And of course, sasabayan yan ng new curriculum. So this is later you will be listening to that person behind this innovation, as I invited him to give his reflection or insights or experiences. Sorry, I'll just play this. I don't know if some of you, if you were able to see this. This is what we did. Now, last time when I shared this sometime in October, ginagawa pa lang namin yung 2,700 kits. Now we were able to deploy to some grade levels. We keep on giving because our target for the coming this term 3, everyone will be using the do-it-yourself robot. So 1:1. So one child, one robot, so that they can continue programming, they can continue building, they can continue creating, innovating. So these parts are fabricated using our 3D printers in the school. We have some robotics assistants, robotics technicians who help us materialize this kind of innovation, this kind of advocacy for our school. And actually, syempre, prior to the distribution of the kits, we conducted muna validators meeting, experts. We invited some Lasallian partners, some experts, external partners, science scissors, around 35 validators. And we met through Google Meet. We delivered 35 robots. Yung una namin ginawa muna, binigay muna sa kanila, delivered, and then with the students guide manual. And then we collaborated about for the improvement prior to the production. Actually, 2,500 lang nakalagay dito, but it's 2,700 kits na. And the name of the robots are, of course, vary. May Pepe, Pepito, Peping. Si Pepe, siya yung pang senior high school namin. Si Pepito, yan na yung ginagamit namin ngayon. Si Peping, gagamitin namin siya para sa grades 3 to 5 students namin. Kasi yung grade 6 to 10, si Pepito. Si Pepe naman sa senior high school namin. Si Sopinoy is spiraling. So this is our, akala ko nung una hindi namin magagawa ng parang because there were problems in the delivery of the parts, raw materials, raw parts. But successfully, nakapag-distribute na kami to some grade levels. So, yan ang mga packaging namin. So, around 2007. Now, this is the challenge now. The challenge is, the research paradigm for action research course, as you've noticed, is now using a different approach. We will be using here the ADI model, analyze, and then design, develop, implement, evaluate. So let me explain to you muna. Bigyan ko muna kayo ng recall. Remember the first one, the action research one, it's more on perspectives on creativity and innovation levels. And then the second one is the effectiveness of robotics intervention. And then the third one is the stakeholders evaluation of the program, policy for curriculum development. These 3 papers were presented and published. The first two were presented in Japan and published in the IC40. And then the second one was presented in the second international conference in Future of Education, Empowering Learners in a Digital World. Now, of course, we're so thankful to the administrators, to the teachers, sila Sir Joel, sila Sir Ramon, and Sir Dennis, Sir Donald, Sir Heinz, our external coaches from DepEd Makati, Mr. Norman Talavera, the robotics technician, Mr. Almer Guadalupe and his company, DLSZ Robotics Elite members, and DLSZ parents. So the first 3 action researchers were able to implement successfully because of the help of these partners. Now, the challenge here is the action research number 4. How are we going to do it with the ADI model, using the ADI model? The first part is the analysis part. So remember the 3 action researches. So how is the current robotics curriculum described in terms of 1, 2, 3? So yun yung perspective, the intervention, and the stakeholders evaluation. With this data needed, data gathering tools, and the data analysis. That's the analysis part. So magme-meta analysis dito for this part. And then for the second one, it's the designing and how is the proposed robotics curriculum design in terms of forms and structures, instructional strategies, assessment, or user experience and interface. And for the developed stage, how are the essential features of the proposed robotics curriculum materials and activities developed in terms of content, competencies, modalities, assessment? I think you are familiar with this parts, the content or these essential features, because these are um, essential parts of the curriculum guide. So makikita niyo yung content, competencies, modalities, assessment. And how is the proposed robotics curriculum implemented in terms of learning goals, learning targets, learning content, learning competencies, modes of instructional delivery, assessment of learning. And for the evaluation part, how effective is the proposed robotics program in terms of, babalikan mo ngayon ito ulit, yung mga essential parts ng curriculum guide, the content, the competencies, modalities, assessment. That could lead to new robotics curriculum for De La Salle Santiago Sudan School. It's ongoing. So nasa stage 3 pa lang kami at this time. Now, I would like to call on the very generous, the proponent of the do-it-yourself robot kit about the students' feedback experiences, because I want to share with you our initiative and how are the students react on this kind of new experience, or how the students perform in using the do-it-yourself robot kit. So this will be all about the students' feedback or students' experiences. Sir Dennis, can you unmute and on your camera? Are you there?
Hello,
Ayan, thank
I'm
you.
here.
All right, sige, Sir Dennis.
Okay. The idea behind the DIY robot is if you cannot go to the lab, we will bring the lab to you. So we have to make sure that this year we will do robotics regardless. So what happened? Basically, what the students really need is more time with the robot. So since they have the robot will be with them the entire day. And we made sure that the parts are cheap, it's practical, something that students can actually buy because we expect that they will get broken. They will break, the students will mess it all up. So we made sure that the parts can be bought by the students. So it's not that expensive, it's very cheap and very practical. So we're confident that even if they break it, we can actually fix it. And we also made sure that they understand the design of the robot, because we remove a lot of things from the usual things that they experience, like switches, like buttons, like all the conveniences. We remove everything. So everything is bare. It's bare. So unlike with the commercial kits, which are very easy to use, just put everything together and it works. Everything here in our design will be manual. So we want them to experience the difficulties and make them understand that it will be part of their daily lives, and thinking for solutions will be part of their daily lives, because since there will be difficulties in the design of the robot, they have to really think about how to go about these difficulties. And by thinking for the solutions, they would understand that that would be part of their lives too. So difficulties, thinking, and solutions. And this is also done by doing simulations. So we always explain to them that everything that they will experience is part of the learning process. So me not telling them everything and them having those difficulties is part of their learning experience. It is very important that students own their solutions. So I don't give them solutions. I give them the task first and give them the time to think about it. And most of the time, actually, we just distributed the robots, and based on their feedback, they were actually reluctant to assemble it. They were always looking for instructions. Sir, ano pa yung instruction? So wala bang step by step. I was actually making uh, uh, I was making the manual, and part of the manual supposed to be is show them step by step how to assemble. But wait, this is a DIY, and this is just a temporary or initial setup of the robot, because the robot will evolve and end up something else. So I just gave them the 3D model, and then told them this is the suggested setup, suggested assembly, first assembly. So if you would like to assemble it in another way, it's up to you. So again, I made sure that they understand it's uh, suggested. It's not it's not really the uh, the setup that you will use for the entire duration of the year. So they will have to make changes so that the robot would adapt to their needs. So I gave them the 3D model, and then it's up to them how to assemble it. And then later on, we will just simply compare what the others did, so they get to see and share what they did too. So that's very important for them to see what others are doing, and later on own their work. Because if I give them the solution, then they might think or feel that, well, we just copied it. So it's very important for me as their teacher to let them feel that what they did is theirs. And then I show them my work or the work of the others. So they will end up with the same thing, but before that, they will feel that it's my work. And then when they compare their work, that's the only time they will realize that they have the same solution. They thought of the same solution. They thought of the same thing. And they are all capable of solving or thinking for themselves without the aid of the teacher. And the teacher's role is basically just to guide them and give them the confidence to do it. Because whenever they ask questions, I ask the question back to them. And they say, is this okay? And I would ask them, what do you think? Is that okay for you? Do you agree with it? What do you think? So they give suggestions. And I say, that's okay. So that's very important.
Thank you, sir.
And I always say, wait. I always say, okay, not correct. And then we also expect that the surge of improvement this year, since they have their robots, but that is we have to check that later on. That's it.
Okay. That's it. Thank you so much, sir. Later, we will entertain some questions, so just stay there, sir.
Sure.
Thank you so much for your sharing. And we know that today's students will need a variety of skills, the 21st century skills. That's why inuna ko muna si Sir magsalita, because do students have the 21st century skills today employers are seeking? Do they have that kind of skills? Are our students ready to take on the next century work? And we know that today's students will need a variety of skills, which is the 21st century skills. And we must ask ourselves what the best ways to provide all the students with authentic, unique, and innovative learning experiences that will foster the development of this, of course, of these essential skills. Um, for now, as I mentioned, this action research number 4 is ongoing, and I'm thankful to the STAR program of Miss Janet Torato. I'm one of them. I'm one of the participants of the STAR program. Remember the last three sets of teachers who presented and administrators, and I was one of them. And this time, we're doing it step by step per grade level. The one that we have just finished, the effectiveness of the proposed robotics instructional design on basic movements for online distance learning. And it's collaborative action research. It's determining the effectiveness of the module. And the authors are the following: myself, Dr. Maricar Prudente, Dr. Socorro Aguja, the grade 3 and 4 teachers, Sir RJ, and Sir Donald. So next time naman, the grades 5 and 6, grade 7 and 8, 9 and 10, 11 and 12. That's the process that we will be doing hanggang sa makuha namin lahat ng kailangan namin na data for us to come up with the new robotics curriculum. And these are my co-collaborators. These are the people behind, these are the teachers behind the success of the best practices or our dreams, our plans for the new curriculum. So Sir Pats, I made him big there because he made a lot of innovations. He's the proponent of the DIY robot, and some of them, the teachers here are are not only teachers but also coaches of the different competitions. I know they are there. Kaway naman kayo diyan kung nandiyan kayo. All right, so you help us answer the questions later. Thank you so much for you. Ito po yung kula. And of course, kasama namin ang aming research mentors. So with our research mentors, Dr. Aguja and Dr. Prudente. So of course, for the research ethics, of course, this is very important to conform to the conduct of the study. We sought consent from the students participants. So these are the things that we have accomplished so far for the ethics and compliance. So these are the references. Thank you so much. Doc, nag-exceed lang ako 2 minutes as what you have requested.
Okay, thank you so much, Jen. Now, we'd like to request the participants to type in your question.
Zile, 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 eu alerg Al mile, 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 mile Pe Maidan, pentru tine, tine Să-ți dau un dar
So we can read them out. I'd like to seek assistance from Dr. Aguja to help us in reading your questions that you have posted on, that you will post in the chat.
Okay, sabi ni Sir Chonilo, mapapasana all na lang tayo sa robotics. I hope DepEd will include robotics in select curriculum. Anyways, thank you so much, Ma'am Pilar, for the comprehensive multi-layer PDSA process. Your presentation is so enriching in terms of action research methods. I have learned many things from your presentation.
Thank you po.
Genevieve, di ba ang DepEd may robotics naman?
Meron po yung kanina present ko yung grade 10 pa lang yung kanilang curriculum. Pero meron daw sa mga science special schools, science schools. Pero wala pang nilalabas na curriculum guide. The only curriculum guide that we're using at this time is that the one that they have given last July 2019 only for grade 10. Pero isang quarter lang po yung robotics doon. 3 quarters electronics.
Pra-practice pa lang, DepEd.
Okay.
So please type in your questions so we can read them.
Okay, can I ask my question right now?
Yes,
Siguro if you can share to the participants the challenges that you encountered in you and your group, no, in the robotics. What are the siguro top 3 challenges that you have encountered in designing the curriculum?
In designing the curriculum. Actually, just before I answer the top 3 challenges, I just remembered sometime in 2010 when I was approached by the science coordinator of the high school department. I was the grade school science coordinator by that time. And she told me that, Jen, simulan mo ang robotics in the grade school. We will wait for them. Kasi it's so hard. It's so hard for us to train students who are already in the high school and then they will leave us soon. Di ba, Sir Dennis, ganun yung nangyari sa team mo. Sir Dennis kasi is the father of robotics at DLSZ. Siya yung nagsimula ng club sometime bago pa mag-2000. And then when he became an administrator, so na-shift siya from teaching to non-teaching, became an administrator, na ipamana niya ngayon sa isang teacher, si Sir Ezrel, yung kanyang club. So puro puro interest club lang siya, passionate, a group of passionate people, a group of passionate students. And then until such time na the program died naturally because there was no definite program or there was no policy for that. It was not sustained. So I think that was one of the challenges. If there's no guideline or policies in school, you will not sustain the program. That happened to the first team of the robotics. In 2000, I think, nalaman ko mga 2006, nawala na sila. And then we revived it sometime in 2010 when we were planning it. Then 2011 was the first training for the 16 students, yung 16 students, grade 3 to grade 6, tag-aapat na bata, so 16 sila. And yung mga graduate na, they are now into robotics already, mechatronics, one is in the one of the Ivy League schools. Karamihan sa kanila si Chia, yes, nandoon na sila. Some of them naman are really into engineering. So nagkaroon ng opportunity for them to explore engineering, to explore robotics. And they were telling me every time we have competition, or sometimes we have mini competition or mini program in our school in robotics, I invite them to coach or to judge. And they were telling me na ang layo na, miss, ng narating natin mula nung unang naging nahawakan nyo kami, mula nung unang kami ay na-train ng robotics. Sana noon na-experience na namin to. So ibig sabihin, they see the progress already. And the one that I mentioned, I forgot to mention, yung DIY robot validators meeting, isa sila doon. Nag-validate. Imaginein mo, dati lang silang part ng sometime in 2010, 2011, and they are now in the university at DLSU Manila. And then we keep on inviting them. So they were one of the experts or validators during the time that we were evaluating the do-it-yourself. So one is the sustainability. Second is, of course, yung frustration level ng mga students. Talagang nakita ko, it's not only for the wins. It's not only for having awards or recognition. You have to make sure that the students are ready so that they will not be frustrated, kasi medyo traumatic experience sa kanila yon pag hindi sila well equipped. That was our experience. And with that, the intervention program, doon namin pinasok yon. And the second is, of course, I think it's not a challenge. It's an opportunity, kasi we are a team. We're a team. We collaborate. My team, the robotics unit teams are very, the team members are very supportive, very generous with their time. They do not count kung sila ay napuyat, kung sila ay marami pang, in addition to their teaching load, magko-coach pa sila. Sister Dennis Patino, he handles 17 sections, pero nagagawa niya pa rin itong do-it-yourself. Imagining, he is the one, the two of us are managing the production of the do-it-yourself. Kahit gabing-gabi nag-uusap pa kami, kasi we want to make sure the success distribution of the DIY robot. And then si Sir Pat, Sponsor Dennis, or we call him Sir Pat. Siya pa talaga ang gagawa ng modules. And of course, he also teaches, monitors, or gives training to the teachers who will be using the DIY robot. That's it, Dr. Prudente, Dr. Aguja.
Thanks. Thank you, Jen.
There's another follow-up question from Sir Sonilo. Sagutin mo ito, Dr. Prudente. Anong course ba sa BAGCED ang meron robotics, or may separate na course ba for that?
Actually, the course on robotics is not offered by BAGCED, although we have a course
Sa engineering.
on integration of technology in the teaching of science and math. And in that course, we integrate only robotics as a topic. But the robotics as a course is taught in our industrial engineering and mechatronics laboratory under the College of Engineering.
Here's another one. Bahala na kayo mag-answer. So from Sir Eduardo Flores, what is the best way of assessing students na may interest and skills in robotics?
Perhaps you can ask Sir Dennis to answer that question. Sir Dennis?
Well, basically kasi I do robotics for everyone. So regardless whether you are into robotics, we make sure that you at least learn something. But with this recent development wherein every student has one already, meron silang robot. So we expect that their interest will be different this year. So their interest will be heightened because in the previous years, they don't have a robot because of the cost. Now that they have one, so everything will change. Maybe the same is true with other students. Since wala silang robot, wala silang hawak, they have no idea how to make this work. They have no interest. So we have to know. And by giving them that idea and the experience, everything will change. So
Yeah.
we have to give them that first, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. We have to equip them first.
Yes.
So giving
Correct.
them the do-it-yourself robot, as
Yes.
Mr. Dennis mentioned, will raise their interest. Then perhaps after that, that's the time you assess, right? So far, in your curriculum, Jen, what are the different assessment tools that you're using for the students?
For the students, it's the performance-based assessments. So they build, they program, and then they, at this time, kasi online distance learning, so they video their output. So we have different, we do assessments for the different groups, like for the students who are
Elite
joining
group.
competitions, the elite team. So we do training every Saturday. That's a regular training. Meron o wala mang competition, we keep on giving them training so that they will be ready. So malayo pa, isa yung sa natutunan namin, malayo pa is we give na the skills that they need to upgrade so that they are ready for the next competition. So we have that assessment, just like I've mentioned, na meron kaming tinatawag na mga grupo ng mga batang developing proficient, approaching proficiency, proficient, and then so expert. And then we give assessment every now and then. They keep on submitting their program, and then the teachers read the program, the output, and then that's the time that the teacher will tell that they will promote the students from one level to another level. So that's for the elite team. So doon kami kumukuha ng for the competition. So we look at the students' performance. Okay, lahat lang ng mga proficient and advanced levels can go to this competition kasi na-practice na kayo dito. So we don't need to worry about the skills that you need, that needed for that particular contest. And then for the mainstream, yung sa subject naman nila, so our grade kasi is based on performance task only. So buong term is scaffolding. It's more on scaffolding leading to the grand performance task. That's why coding is very much highlighted in our curriculum. So this year, we not only robotics, but computer technology, science, and coding. That's why we partnered with a coding provider. I think they are here. So yung ACE from Phoenix. The coding, they are the ones guiding us for the coding integration kasi we have the same advocacy, we have the same goals, missions, right, Sir Dennis? It's coding is the basis, the coding as the basic foundation for innovation, for technology innovation. Sir Dennis?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I agree.
In addition, part of our performance task is the integration of robotics, computer technology, coding, and science. So lahat yun, hindi pwedeng gagawa lang sila ng performance task just for the sake of doing performance task. It has to be embedded or integrated with the other subjects. It has a purpose. That's why, di ba dun sa mga action researches, kailangan may use, may purpose, may value yung innovation nila.
Correct.
That's it.
But remember that BAGCED has followed suit such in terms of adopting the OBE. So you were mentioning the skills, but how about the knowledge and attitude?
That's part.
Yes.
Yes, that's
So
part.
how do you integrate that in the competencies in the robotics curriculum?
The one that we're developing right now, that's part of the KSA, the knowledge, the skills, and the attitudes of the students. Of course, when every time you come up with a module, it has to be with the three components: the knowledge part, the skills, and the attitudes.
Attitude.
That's why the values integration is always there. We look at the UNESCO SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, and also the students. We have the self-reflection. So sometimes we ask the students now, how do you find the activity today? What help do you need? Something like that. Were the instructions clear? So the students are honest, reflective on what they have done or about the experience with the teachers or with the activity.
Okay, thank you. Dr. Aguja?
Yeah, there are still two, I guess. It's again from Sir Tonilo. Maybe a comment only. So in our region, actually Zamboanga Peninsula region, DMC College Foundation, a LaSalle supervised school has robotics classes from elementary to high school. So doesn't need an
Wow.
answer. Okay. So from Miss Marie Glovi Chua Cheng, to assess, to determine, provide the robotic experience to pick the interest as what the LSU is doing. Nag-comment lang. So no more questions that I can see from scrolling down and up. Here, there's another from Ameline Magdasok. Thank you and congratulations, Ms. Genevieve Pilar. Very informative presentation about robotics and integrating PDSA model. For public schools, what can you suggest to be considered in preparation for the robotics enhancement program for our STEM students?
Wow. Okay. Every time we're asked to what to do first, I think it's the empowerment of the teachers first. I think you need that. Kasi mahirap sumabay kayo sa students. So you cannot have that, right, Sir Dennis? You make sure that you know what you say, you know what you are doing, and you have to empower first the teachers. Give training first to the teachers until such time that you will consider who are interested. Because sometimes, makikita nyo hindi lang naman galing sa science, sa computer technology teacher, or sa mathematics, or sa engineering. There are other subjects who are also interested to help out. Like us, meron kaming mga PE teachers na who are willing to be part of the team, to coach, to help in the training of the students. So that's the first one. And then what can you suggest to be considered in preparation for the robotics enhancement program? Yeah, that one. And training for the teachers. And then of course you have to consider what are your priorities, what standards do you consider, just like us, what we consider the industry standards. So it depends on the DepEd. Sir Pats, do you have additional info?
Well, basically, if you have electronics, you have to make sure that they really do get it and they do practical projects so that they get to bring that skill to STEM.
Yes.
So basic yun eh, because you'll be building robots, including electronics that go with robot. So that's very important.
Okay, can I have the last question? Just for just so the participants who might be interested to develop or to design and develop their own robotics curriculum in their schools. No, I think part of your plan after completing this do-it-yourself robot is also to share it with interested educators. Okay,
Yes.
so not to put you on the spot, but more or less, how much will a kit cost?
The cheap one. The
If
cheap
you're going
one.
to, you have plans of mass producing and sharing it, diba? So they can buy. I mean, share not for free, but for.
What we're planning at this time, I don't know if it will be approved by the school, because we have to ask permission from the LaSalle Zubel administrators. I think Miss Ruby is here; she's listening. part of the advocacy is to conduct training. And of course, just to compensate naman with the training kits that we'll be using, kasi we cannot train them naman without the kit. So it will be part of the training because we have the Spark Ed Training Center. So kung dati, kapag nag-Spark Ed kayo, it's just the kit, the handouts, or whatever, the USB, ang part. Baka this time, part of the training kit will be the DIY robot. So it will be yours na, so that you have something to bring home instead of the usual training kit. It will be the DIY robot kit so that you can continue, because the DIY robot kit is just the one that we're doing right now is just the basic version of it. But according to Sir Pats, as the students transfer to the next level, go to the next level, we'll just add additional parts and enhancement parts. Hindi naman kasi po pwedeng mula grade 5 nila, meron silang robot, tapos grade 6 may robot. Naman baka dumami na yung robot nila sa bahay kung taon-taon. So, ina-upgrade lang namin yun.
So, ina-upgrade.
Ina-upgrade lang namin yun. Maraming Kaya Miss Ruby is there. Yeah, kasi that's one of the plans. That's one of the dreams. We have to make sure that it is under the Spark Ed Training Center. We don't know when will we offer that or launching that. Pero at this time, we have some adapted schools already, public schools, mga mini-mini lang muna. It's sharing only. It's not muna the hardcore programming. It's not only parang teaser lang siya. Parang patikim lang sa kanila para maintindihan nila until na maintindihan nila, then they will enroll na for the Spark Ed training program na. That's
Okay.
it.
Kasi
As you mentioned, you have to give the child the robotics kit to
Yes.
pick their interest.
Yes.
And that goes through with the teachers. Diba?
Yes.
To
Yes.
pick the teacher's interest and to do the training, you have to provide also. I mean, they have to be provided with a kit. Diba?
Yes.
So if it can be integrated, that's a very good news to hear that you're going to integrate it in your Spark Ed training. So for the participants who are here and who are interested, maybe you can watch out for invitations from DLSZ to Del for their Spark Ed training, so that you can avail for a fee, for a modest fee, the what's this? The kit, robotics kit. Miss Ameline Magdasok is raising that question because Ameline is actually conducting. I mean, she is one also of my mentees.
Yeah, I know
And
her.
her dissertation is about robotics, integrating robotics in teaching physics ba, Chem?
Yeah.
Ami, no? Ami, can you show yourself?
So thank you so much, Miss Genevieve. So I learned many things about robotics. So actually, my dissertation is all about integrating this robotics in teaching physics. So it's more on kinematics. So for public school, so we plan to use Arduino as the most flexible and the cheapest to use for public schools.
Tumatawa si
Great.
Sir Pats.
Great. Masaya si Sir Pats.
Yes, cheapest.
Okay. Do we still have questions, Dr. Aguja?
Dr. Prudente.
Wala na.
Yes,
Dr.
Jen.
Prudente, I think Miss Ruby is one. She was with me when we were innovating this kind of advocacy. Maybe she can give some advice, some words for the participants.
What you call this, consistent to the tradition of De La Salle all over the world. We are glad to share. And actually, this robotics is really something we know that the kids want. And we know in our educational philosophies, when the kids are active participants of their own learning, they get interested and they learn a lot, and you increase understanding. And hopefully, with that understanding, they help contribute to nation building and help solve real world problems. So it is really starting them young. Simple things, the Legos that parents here buy their kids, that's the spark in igniting interest in all these things. When kids create and manipulate, it's limitless. The possibilities are limitless. So it's really starting small and gaining confidence. Basta at the heart of it is really bringing out the best in children. So this started with grade 3, then grade 4. Those grade 3 are now in grade 10, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, or grade 9.
Yeah, grade 10,
And then
grade 10.
grade 10, and then Miss Jenny went lower by offering robotics to the kinder, grade 1 as a club. And then camp,
As a camp, yeah.
then
Yeah.
club for those interested. So I have been seeing parents telling us about kids removing the laptops and doing it again. So if you need help, assistance, as Miss Jenny said, through the Spark Ed, I think you will learn a lot. Basta, just give us a call if you need assistance in whatever form, as far as tech training and research experiences. So Jenny and Sir Pats and the team will be able to do that. It's really igniting that spark in our kids. So ang daming possibilities talaga.
Yes,
So
agree.
this is the way to go. Ano na
Yes.
bang century tayo? 21st, and then ano na bang hindi ko na alam. Di ba, Doc? Yung mga
Yes.
artificial intelligence. So the teachers of today should really know their kids very well. We're all getting older. Our kids are getting younger by the day. So it's a challenge for us to really follow the pacing of this talagang high potential children. So yun lang ang damay ko, Jen.
Okay, thank you.
Miss Ruby.
I guess,
Thank you.
since we don't have questions, let's proceed to the next part, the usual awarding, to show our appreciation to our speaker and the gentleman shared with us his insights about curriculum development for the robotics program at DLSZ. Development and educational research leader and action research, action learning, ARAL. Present the certificate of appreciation to Miss Genevieve Arizala Perliar for conducting the DLSU BAGCED Leader ARAL webinar lecture entitled Developing DLSZ Robotics Curriculum through Collaborative Action Research, given this December 2021, 2020, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Via 12 noon via Zoom. Signed, Dr. Raymond Sison, our Dean, Dr. Shirley Dita, our Leader Director, and yours truly as the Chair of the Conference Chair of ARAL 2020. Thank you very much, Ms. Jen.
Thank you, Ms. Jen.
Your time and your experiences and your expertise about robotics curriculum at DLSC. Okay, we have another certificate for the same certificate is given to Mr. Dennis Cesar P. Patino for sharing in the DLSU BAGCED Leader ARAL online webinar on developing the DLSC robotics curriculum through collaborative action research, given this December 21, 2020, 10 a.m. to 12 noon via Zoom. Signed, Dr. Raymond Sison, Dean of BAGCED, Dr. Shirley Dita, the Leader Director, and of course, yours truly as the Conference Chair of ARAL 2020. So thank you very much, Sir Dennis, for sharing with us your ideas.
Thank you, Sir Dennis.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Yeah,
Thank you
Merry
so
Christmas,
much.
Happy New Year.